Ladies and gentlemen, one final announcement for all of you from the pre-function area to kindly step in. For all the ones who are outside, we're re-beginning with our conference. May we urge all of you to take your seats so that you can help us with a timely start. May we urge everyone in the pre-function area to kindly join us back. Ladies and gentlemen, may we urge everyone in the pre-function area to kindly step in. We believe time is of the biggest asset to each and everyone present here. And all of you joining us back is what's going to help us to restart. If anyone's in the room, if your colleagues are out, please dial them in so that we can re-begin with our e4m OH conference. The ones outside, one final call for them to step in. Thank you. Well, welcome back, everyone. We hope the first half of the E4M OH Conference 2024 has taught you something new and inspired you on the road ahead. But before that, before we re-begin, we'd like to urge you to use our hashtag E4M Neon OH as one word. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, let's extend a gratitude to our presenting partner, Lemma, the omni-channel platform for emerging media. May we urge the team to now put in their partner presentation on the screen. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, as we had informed you about the session post lunch, and in case you'd like to further see the agenda, we'd like to urge you behind your name cards, which are there, your name badges, there's a QR code. You can most likely scan that and know the agenda ahead. Well, up next, our panel is going to be deep diving into the digital OH, which is DOH, and the omni-channel experience. Let's discover how DOH connects the physical as well as the digital touchpoints, whereby leveraging data from the targeted campaigns. Also learn about integrating the DOH with mobile and social for amplified impact, and explore the full potential and the future potential of the personalized omni-channel experience. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we'd like to humbly invite our esteemed speakers on the stage. First up, Mr. Mangesh Shinde, co-founder, Osmo Advertising. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome him. And I think with renewed energy post-lunch, I think he deserves a bigger round of applause. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, if I could have Mr. Dinesh Punjabi, Regional Director, West Rapo, India. Do we have Mr. Punjabi? Right there. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Dinesh, for joining us today. We'd also like to urge the welcome of Rajneesh Behel, CEO at Zest Outdoor. Mr. Behel, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Alok Gupta, Director, Graphisads Limited. Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Let's give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And the session chair of this conversation is going to be Jahan Mehta, Chief Growth Officer of OAP Media Tech Private Limited. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome Mr. Mehta. Indeed, with a fabulous smile, Mr. Mehta, I hope that is going to guarantee a great conversations ahead. And with that, over to you to take it forward.
Thank you so much. Hello and good afternoon. I hope you had a lovely lunch and back with renewed energy. So we've got the wonderful task of talking about digital out of home and the omni-channel experience. I remember a few years ago, I was at a conference and Mr. Decor then had mentioned that everything will be digital in future. You will have a personalized 1:1 like on your mobile, and you will have 1:many like broadcast, which is what we are in out of home. So with that as a basic background, I think perhaps we could go to the techie in our group. So first up, sorry, a big thank you to Exchange for Media for putting this wonderful panel together. I mean, you guys have done an incredible job. I think we're all quite diverse in our expertise. So we've got a techie, we've got an agency expert, we've got both, and we've got both. So Yeah, Magesh, if you could just tell us a little bit, if you could define what the omni-channel experience is and the role that out-of-home can play in it.
Uh, Before I kickstart with what exactly omnichannel marketing is all about, I would like to bring to your notice a few numbers. I was doing a data crunching a while ago. So 1 in 3 in-store shopping happens after visiting online first, and 1 in 4 online purchases happen after visiting the store. So the essence is the experiences that are delivered across the online and offline channels uh, needs to be the same. So omnichannel marketing as such is a very broad content context, but in brief, it is a continuous process of seamless integration of online and offline media channels that are spread across the top, middle, and the bottom funnels of the consumer journey that culminates into a seamless, unified experience. So, at the core, the output that is expected is to establish a deeper, a meaningful relationship and an experience for the end consumers. Uh, Data, content, and technology are the three key drivers for um, shaping up the entire omnichannel marketing ecosystem. So there are enough and abundant of data sources that gives you a single view, a 360-degree view of a consumer from a location-based perspective, from behavior, interests, and so on. And there is a layer of first-party data also attached to it. And that is a kind of a start point wherein you start integrating the media channels, the insights into the media channels. You have a technology stack that enables the transfer of experiences across the channels. And then there is content, which has to be uniform, irrespective, it is media agnostic. Um, if I have to give an example, uh, in the digital ecosystem, because primarily we've seen it more there, I happen to scroll through the Insta feed. I come through an ad, an apparel brand ad, for example, and I go in, I click on the ad, I add a few items into my cart. And there is an instance of cart abandonment that happens for some reason. The beauty of omni-channel marketing kicks in here, right? I am not targeted again on the same platform, probably not. The wisest thing to do is, but I would get a notification of the same brand on the app that I have native on my phone, saying that you abandoned this cart, here's a drop that has happened. Or probably I would get a customized WhatsApp message, right? So the communication, the stage at which I am remains constant irrespective of the channels. From an out-of-home perspective, omni-channel plays a very different role. The most classic example and the proven and scalable thing is, for example, a real estate brand. They've coming up with a project. They've picked up a few out-of-home inventories. Uh, Out-of-home plays an important role that caters to the intrigueness of the audience. I want to know more about this project. And ultimately, I go on a platform, which is, we are all familiar, Google, and I search about that brand or a product. Now, the integration here happens in a manner, the performance team in the background has already placed their bids for the keywords and the products that are exactly used in the out-of-home creative. So for example, on the out-of-home creative, there is a Google search bar saying Kia Seltos, right? So I go onto the Google search and I type the same. However, this aspect is intangible in terms of attributing, but it can be converted into a tangible attribution with the help of marketing mix models.
Thank you so much for that. Over to you now, Dinesh. Uh, m- what we've seen is that the majority of ad spends is now moved towards digital. Uh, can DOH be regarded as part of the digital ecosystem? Can we expect to tap into that media pie? And what would we bring to the table to enhance that omni-channel experience? Just keeping it simple for you.
uh, you have pressed the pain button wherein everybody I think so. Outdoor has got affected very badly whenever from the moment digital have started utilizing outdoor budget, because what happens is at the end of the day, whenever you are in the planning stage or a client is working on a budget, and if there is a shortage of budget, or they want to do something extra, or they want to do something in digital, the first thing or the first budget is get chopped out is the outdoor budget. So it's a pain point. That's the reason I said. But I would say every media is unique because of digital. What has happened is people have uh, put a blinder on the outdoor advertising itself, which I would say is wrong, because at the end of the day, no matter what it is, I proudly say if anything needs to get launched, they would require an outdoor support. Okay, so that's simple. Means we don't need digital support to promote any media. Say, for example, like Junaid Bhai's side, we don't have to promote on digital. Whereas any launch can happen on Junaid Bhai's side. So that's the best USP what we have it. That's one thing. Second, let me put it in this manner. With the introduction of DOOH, I would say it is a complementary that has done to the static OOH. It's a need of an hour. It's a modern need which is building up. I would say it has lifted up the benchmark of the outdoor industry, because there is a technology which has come in. People are not only saying कि यार इस पे तो सिर्फ cutout और jutout लगता था. We are talking beyond that. So that is again a second biggest advantage. Most importantly, see, it's very important. A pie, what you said, get cuts, or a pie, how we can get it back. Important parameter is that what is the marketing objective and how that marketing objective is going to get fulfilled. That's the core. If suppose that marketing objective is going to fulfilled by various mix of all the channel, every pie is going to be there at their place. And with the introduction of DOH and a lot of technology which is coming up, with a lot of interaction which is going on, okay, a lot of 3D, anamorphic, everything innovation is going on. I'm 100% sure the budget is going to come back to OH, and this medium is again going to get its own weightage.
Yeah, Rajnish, because he's gone from the agency side to the media ownership side. So that's going to be an interesting
I would like
perspective.
to just, add on this. Nowadays, we are also seeing that most of the brands, they are, they are like, giving the brief to the agencies saying that we just need in this outdoor campaign, only outdoor, digital media. They don't want, static ones. So that change is now like, coming in. So it's not only the digital on the social media where the clients are investing. Clients have also started investing in outdoor digital media. I've seen, so many campaigns in Mumbai from, agencies where they say, कि sir, ये वाले campaign में खाली digital hoardings ही डालनी है. Purely, we don't want static hoarding. I think this is a great shift. And just to, answer your question, that is like, digital media taking away the spends for, outdoors. I don't care, even if it is like, taking. Why? Because we are increasing the pie. Outdoor itself has now increased its pie of the entire advertising spends by adding digital for that. And Mumbai being the city where the entire evolution has started. So that's a great move by the entire municipal corporation of Mumbai for that. So it doesn't matter even if digital goes.
Alok, anything for you to add there?
Yeah, a lot of things to add actually. And I'd like to subtract also from the others, because I personally think that outdoors budgets haven't gone down. Some clients might have left outdoor, but there are a lot of new clients which have come on board and actually increase the overall pie. Talking about shift from a digital budget to a digital out-of-home budget, as a media owner, the more the merrier. We'd like to have best of both the worlds. The good thing about DOH is in future or currently also we're looking at DOH as a possible POS model for a lot of impulse categories. I mean, if you're half an hour away from your home, you see a digital out of home on your way, click on QR code, download, order something. As soon as you're reaching home, it's already there. That is if those apps are not already in your phone. So in future, I personally feel that DOH as a possible point of sale for a lot of clients is going to come up.
Yes, worldwide, we've also seen that there's been a huge uptick in digital attribution once it's been combined with digital out of home. And so we're all really hopeful that this initiative by Mumbai will actually catch on in the rest of the country. Uh, so what do you think as an industry we should be doing to get the brand managers to effectively integrate our medium into the ad spends?
See, it's very important now with digital OH coming, and we are talking about a lot of metrics and all. It's very important that we, along with the brand manager, make them understand few good quality points of DOH in terms of what can be done, how it can be measured, what ideas can be implemented, what is the new technology which is coming into it, and how it can be utilized along with the static one also. So there are a lot of parameters to it, which it's very important for the brand managers to understand, to explore the possibility. Once they are aware about it, once they get educated on that, 101% there is a possibility that things are going to work for us.
I'll just give one solution according to my experience. You want to increase the pie of digital through brand managers, please take them on ground, because most of the brand managers, they do whatever sitting in their own offices. If they need to add on more outdoor digital in their media planning, they need to go on ground and see the effectiveness of digital outdoors.
I'll just add on to Rajiv thing. See, it's also very important when we are talking to the brand managers, we are not only talking in terms of just selling the media. It's very important what we are talking in terms of providing a solution to them. And the best solution to provide to any brand manager is from a creative angle. What the creative needs to be, what the creative needs to talk, how the creative is going to create an impression. That is all outdoor is all about. If that is you are able to boil down with the brand manager, make him understand how it works, I'm sure we are there.
Lovely. Now that we've spoken so much of digital, there's another D word which we've been discussing in out of home for about 25 or 30 years, and that's data. What audience measurement metric are you using? When can we get the common currency on board? And if you haven't heard of Roadstar, I'll tell you about it after you answer the next question.
See, common currency always give a weightage to any even if we talk on an India level, common currency is rupee, it gives a weightage. Same way with an agency, if there is a common metrics, it will give a weightage. Definitely every agency have their own way of working. Definitely there is every agency who have their own parameters, own software which they try to develop to work it out. And we too are working with Roadstar on that. And I'm sure there would be a lot of smooth path which will be working out with you all.
Lovely. Alok, let's put you on the hot seat.
Ideally, we'd like to work with Roadstar and other platforms which offer any kind of audience measurement. We tried some models in the past, but they couldn't work out because the data was incorrect. But in near future, if there is something which is near to the actual data, so to say, we are more than hopeful, because at the end of the day, it will increase our yields. That's what we think. So good.
How about you, Rajneesh?
Yes, I always believe that if it can be measured, it can be improved. So now it's the time. It's been so many years the industry has been talking about bringing in a data. It could be independent or it could be uniform data. So now the assets are already on ground. The digital is already being placed across the cities. Now, if we don't get into a singular data source, so slow and steadily, even this digital will start fading for them. So now it's a need of the hour. We have to implement this thing for them.
So
Just to
yeah, sure.
just to add on to this, what is of utmost critical point is um, democratization of data should happen, right? So the accessibility, the availability of the data should be there for everyone. In the sense, be it the data on the media inventory, how much is there, where is it there, irrespective of the media owners, the publishers. from the measurement data collection, there are multiple stratified sources of data that culminates into some meaningful uh, 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 insights that can be driven. And the integration of this across the platform at an association level would really push things to drive at scale.
Yes. So on that subject, because you are the techie, so you need to help us through this one. We hear a lot about mobile retargeting. So what is mobile retargeting, and how do we get this physical world and the virtual world to kind of interact with each other?
So, as I've said, there is enough and abundant data sources, right? There are a lot of SSPs and DSPs platforms, which initially started as an ad network, then a DSP platform, and an SSP platform, and they've integrated kind of
Just if you could just explain SSP, DSP, and
for that.
yeah.
So there is a demand side platform wherein you have all the advertisers bidding for the audiences, and there is an SSP side platform on the other side that is plugged onto all the publishers. So the entire network is called as an ad network. Uh, so for any advertiser to bid on an audience, they should know about the audience. And that information, that data is provided by the SSP platforms. So this ad networks has a pool of device IDs, which also has a location information entangled along with it, subject to privacy and GDPR compliance, of course. From out-of-home perspective, mobile retargeting, how it works is in a vicinity of out-of-home assets, you can create cohort of all these device IDs and push them on the similar DSP platforms where you can find those audiences and target them. So again, I would say an intangible way to bridge the gap between online and offline, but it's a start. And I firmly believe that this start will take us to a tangible stage wherein it is very much attributable like it happens in Facebook, plus 7 days is the attribution, right? So that's one. But I believe that apart from mobile retargeting, there are a lot of omni-channel possibilities in out-of-home. So one of which is appealing content, right? So you have anamorphics, you have computer graphic CGIs that you have right now. This creates a lot of enticing content that goes on to the social media, again, speaking huge volumes about the brand. And AR can take your physical experience into a very different virtual zone experience for the same brands, again, trying to bridge the gap. So yeah, and lastly, I would like to end this point with something called as a metaverse or an omniverse. So that is one zone where we believe digital OH potential would certainly accentuate. So we have gaming platforms, you have virtual, real world virtual environments inside. You can have out-of-home asset inside a gaming app, right? So you can have those connected with the digital out-of-home platforms, and that's how you can get this omni-channel targeting across digital out-of-home and virtual.
Wow. So what we need to do is get all our screens onto a supply side network. We already have the demand side well connected. And if we have a data management platform in the middle that informs both what the audience is, then we should be alive and kicking, right? What do you think about that, Rajneesh? Yeah, Alok? All right. So I'm just going to shoot out an email to the IOAA president. We've completely got this sorted. Okay, Junaid? Okay, and this is to all of you, if you could do any three things at an industry level to make DOOH part of the omni-channel experience, what would that be?
For me, three things would be, the first thing is the most important thing I always believed is to invest in good talent. This industry now and to sell digital, we need good talent. So that's the first investment the industry has to make now. It's not only on the part of the agencies to bring in good and educated talent. It's also on the part of the asset management companies. They also need to now bring in good talent so that they can go to the agencies and sell them the way digital has to be sold for that. So that's point number one. Second, as an industry, we need to invest in technology, without which the entire momentum will not happen. So that's where the asset management companies come into the picture. So they need to invest in technology. And the third is the hardware. The hardware of investing and putting in that capital at the start of the business. It's quite tough, but yes, a lot of asset management companies are investing into hardware. So I think if these three things are taken care of by both the sides of the businesses, which is the agencies and the asset management companies, I think digital and the entire industry will be quite good enough for that.
Super. Thank you. Alok?
Yeah, my humble suggestions would be, I think, see, as media owners, we have certain responsibility towards out-of-home as an industry and DOH, the new baby that has been given birth to. So we are not a sexy industry, and we have to accept that. I think to begin with, we need to go to colleges, we need to go to universities, we need to educate them and hire from top-rung colleges, get on board for our out-of-home agencies, for media owners, so that at least we add some chutzpah to this, overall ecosystem. The second thing, and the previous session also talked about it, I'd love to someday fund a creative out-of-home agency to begin with. I mean, if there is any idea for a creative, specifically out-of-home creative agency, game on for it. We need to promote such talent because we are one of the most impactful mediums and we are one of the most underutilized mediums. And the third one, I think if we do the first two, it's more than enough.
I'm not sure if there's a investment possibility on ideas, but there's an idea cafe that's out there. I believe they completed 1 year. Well done, Nabindu.
We need hundreds of idea cafes, and I think Nabindu sir would agree to that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Even most of the agencies today, they have started investing in creative people who are working on digital platform as such for that.
I completely agree with what has been told. There are three things what I would put my coin on is. Number one, an important parameter is the thought process. Okay. An outdoor creative is definitely a different creative in comparison to others. So it's very important that a creative has been designed from an outdoor angle point of view. That's one thing. Secondly, it's also very important, we are talking about DOH, that's a new segment, but we need to work it out as a complement to OH. So it needs to go in hand in gloves along with the static media so that, it carries away in a very systematic manner so that outdoor as an industry comes up. That's the other thing. Third and foremost important, as said, it's very important, when we are talking about DOH, beside the creative angle, anamorphic and all, it also start getting into interaction on a more higher level. So an upgradation, an interaction or exploring more parameter to it will definitely help this industry grow.
Almost all of the pointers are covered by all the panelists here. And since you've named me a techie wizard, I like to answer that from that perspective. If at all there is a possibility that we scale digital out-of-home, wherein there is also a possibility that any layman who is sitting on any DSP platform, like you have a Facebook ads account, right? You can run Facebook, Insta, digital out-of-home, and the normal digital campaigns all together. That's how the digital out-of-home pie is going to gradually increase and it's going to come into the consideration set. In order to accentuate the capability of digital out-of-home, we also need to introspect of how we can integrate generative AI into digital out-of-home. So Facebook has a lot of AI-based algorithms that keeps on suggesting, these are the 15 set of text, primary text that you can go ahead with, and you can get your CPR less by 20%. So I believe something like this can also be possible from out-of-home perspective.
Once again, can you please explain this? Generative AI just went.
So I'm so sorry to sound so technical about it, but when you run an ad on Facebook, you give a primary text copy and you give a headline, right? So that is what you get from the client, and you publish it. So while you run the campaign, Facebook goes into learning stage, right? They understand the audience, what are they liking and what are they not liking. And basis that, basis the number of clicks that has happened, they will suggest that these are the other different types of copies that you can go ahead with in order to catch the attention and increase the number of clicks. So in a similar manner, we also need to do something called as a dynamic creative optimization, that these are the possible combinations of artworks that can go ahead, and once you measure which one is working effectively, you take that into the sustenance phase. So that's the overall idea.
Wow. So that's 2 points. You giving me a third?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
You mentioned 2 points.
So
Are you coming up with a third?
No, I mentioned Gen AI one, and one is scalable in terms of digital out-of-home campaigns and
Fair
the
enough.
digital campaigns running both at the same time.
Great. And now the tough one, which I think I'm going to open to the floor. Junaid, who do you think should implement these? What do you think, Navindu? Yeah, please, Junaid, come.
Everything that he was speaking about are very similar to each other. Because the function of a computer is very similar. What you feed in is what comes out. So just making, I mean, SSPs, DSPs, and DCO and all of this, I've studied it extensively, and they're not very complicated. What needs to change is the acceptance to learn it in our industry. The thing with tech is that with the traditional, I mean, you say the last generation, when you say this can happen and this how it should be done, they're like, oh, I will never get it. So that mentality has to change. That evolution, the acceptance, the belief, and that anybody can do it, I mean, anybody can learn it. And today with AI and, with so many tools are only made to make life easy for people. That's something that we all need to understand as an outdoorian, that all of this technology is available for us to learn. And the best part about technology is it's all available online. You don't need to go to a school. You can study it online, you can create apps online, you can code online, you can learn A to Z online. So this is my, I mean, this is my challenge that I face in my own organization, is the acceptance and the adaptability and the willingness to kind of say, okay, yes, I'm willing to open up to it,
If you can pass the mic on to Jayesh, I'm putting you on the hot spot.
Well, what I feel it has to be a collaborative effort, like how Navindu said. As far as the DSP and SSP side of the platform is concerned, we already have a fantastic thing like Lemma, which is already there in place. There's a DV360, which is already in place, and people are placing ads through that, and audience buying is happening. It's just that unlike any other media, our own media is very, very fragmented. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are not dealing with the big corporates here. There are a lot of proprietary firms which are involved in that. And there is a lot of sense of insecurity with the media owners, which is lying that when I give my things on an SSP platform, will my rates will be covered? Will it be, tomorrow if they starting it, selling it at a lesser cost? So all that insecurity which is there inside, right now, Facebook and Google doesn't have that kind of an insecurity. They are openly, publishing their inventory and one go and straight away buys it. One has to bid for that. So bidding it goes up as well, it goes down as well, depending on the kind of audiences what you are buying. So this is definitely going to be the future. In next 5 years down the line, I don't think so. The outdoor is going to work the way we are doing it as far as digital out of home is concerned.
Everyone agrees? It all needs to be done together? Wonderful. I have a last point, and it's an interesting one. We at Out of Home, we are at about 4% of the media pie. How do we get to 10%? Are we doing enough together as an industry to push ourselves forward? And if not, what should we be doing in order to get up to that 10% mark? We'll go with you first, Rajnish.
I can just say, from 4 to 10, there is no such, formula as such. But yes, the entire pie has to increase. So even if you go from 4 to 6 also, but if the pie is 3 times, okay, still we'll have a, better, contribution to, out of home for that. So, digital out of home has added and it has increased the pie. So I would always say that let's focus on having more and more, digital out of home screens across, different kind of medias, so that there are more options. We can, synchronize it and give a, better out of home solution to the client. So that's how the entire, pie will increase, and the first preference will be given to, digital out of home.
You, Alok?
So I have a very contrary take on this, Jahan. First things first, with due respect to all the data crunchers and the people who have put this 4% tag on the out-of-home industry, we are a 10% part of the overall media mix. And there are numbers. Those numbers are not registered, not taken together. So either that 6,000 crore that is missing, it is of 1 lakh crore, 1 lakh 6,000 crore, or we are 10,000 of 1 lakh crore. But we are a 10,000 crore industry. There's no denying that fact. First things first. Now the question comes that how can we move from a 10K to a 15K? That's more important. And that will gradually happen in 2-3 years because, during the day the discussions were happening. I saw Jayesh Bhai's pitch on the new media opportunities which are coming up in tier 2, tier 3 in the transit mediums. That 10 to 15K has to happen in 2-3 crores because of the number of exponential opportunities in DOOH or OOH space. The thing is, how do we ensure that the clients who have left out of home as a media, how can they come back? I think that is one of the most pressing questions that we should ask ourselves. And for that, I can go on and on. There are a lot of things that can be covered, but we are trying to solve that on our own. And as an industry, we have to look at a lot of practices which can be improved so that those clients can come back. And one of the best things we can do and not talking to brand managers, I'm talking to the CXO levels, is to de-link yourself from the procurement guys. That's the worst thing to happen to this industry. Out of home impact has been killed by the procurement teams of the clients. We are an impact medium. We are not a sales medium. We are not a performance marketing medium. Let out of home be for impact.
Interesting. So you reckon that as an industry, if we were to approach some of the larger advertisers who've stopped advertising in our medium, we address their concerns. I would assume audience measurement, third-party monitoring. In that case, we'd probably be able to bring them back in. Yes, Dinesh.
See, when we are talking about 4 to 10% jump, okay, and the effort what we are putting, I would say we all are somewhere down the line putting our own efforts to, work towards the best or bring the best to the table. Now, important parameter is let's not focus on 4 to 10%. Let's focus on the quality. Let's focus on the upgradation. Let's focus on the technology. Let's focus on what exactly we want to bring it out so that it gets attracted. There's a famous line in Hindi which we all outdoor guys use, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है और बड़ा पर्दा भारी है. So if suppose वो दिखने वाली चीज़ अगर quality है तो वो बिकेगा भी. Just let's focus on that. Numbers will automatically increase. Because the more you are going to get focused towards number, somewhere down the line, your whole attention is going to go on a different side. So I believe let's focus on the quality, let's focus on thoughts, let's focus on ideas, let's focus what we can bring on the table that enhances the overall industry on a different level altogether. So that we do not have that question कि मेरा पाई ये खा गया और मैं अब किसका पाई खाऊंगा.
Hello. Yeah. I believe from 4 to 6 is not a challenge because it will itself combine inflation. Right? So the question arises, how do we just not project the year-on-year increase, keeping inflation aside, because that's the fact that's been happening. Right? So we need to get away from the mindset of commoditizing outform. It is like Alok said, the procurement teams look at it as a commodity, right? You go to a brand and you do all fancy pitches and you talk about audiences, and finally it is relayed down to a person who will talk the language like per square feet per unit, and there is where you lose the battle. We need to educate the clients as well that there is going to be a trade-off between quality and the objective that you are going to achieve out of it. Lastly, I believe talent plays a huge role in taking the industry to a better place. And we as a community need to make sure we have the right kind of talent across tech, data science, and most importantly, content perspective. So that's my take on it.
Super. So I think one of the things that we really need to acknowledge is that is reality, and the procurement officer is reality. So I think our challenge then is to come up with the metrics which show that if you have a 140 feet by 140 feet site at Bandra, the impact that that creates, and I think Ocean have done that extremely well in London. So if we start doing things similar here in India, we'd probably be able to, we'll be able to show on paper the enhanced impact of some superb out of home. So I've been given a slight glare saying that there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left. You need to wrap up. So audience questions. I actually switched it around. I asked the audience a few questions, but please go ahead.
Check. So if there's any audience question, we'd just like to queue in for that because we've had an engaging audience. If there is any, please do raise your hand. Otherwise, all right, there are quite a few. Only two, please. Starting with you, sir. Can we get the mic, please, pass to the gentleman? I'm glad our cameraman is helping us on that. So if you just switch on the mic, I can see it was off. Yeah,
so
perfect.
question to all of you.
All?
So
Maybe
let
one.
me, whoever want to pick the question. So if you take example from television as a media, so television media until Bark came in, and Bark only happened when 5 or 6, I strongly believe 5 or 6 publisher came. They didn't wait for 150 publisher will come and invest money. Okay. So 5-6 people came in, they put in 100 crore each, and with 500-600 crore, they did a audience measurement, unified research. If you are talking about Roadstar and all of this, let me tell you this. You know, if you pay peanuts, you will get monkeys. So I think it's the end of the day, it's the media owner who's investing so much of money into the business. And it is for their own reason. It is not 600 crore. It is some 20 crore if some 6 of you come together as a media owner and start doing with Nielsen and all the some of the best brands. I think that will be more, like Roadstar will be questioned again some days. Who has stamped it? Where is the, media research, user council? So all of that will happen. Just put together that money. I as agency specialist, I put my neck into it that I'll put in some money as well, okay, when I'm saying this. And that is when probably this answer the questions, number one. Number two, I agree with Alok, this is 10% industry size. So it is not about whichever agency, not meant to pitch Madison or Group M. Just to tell you that there are, or Nielsen, whatever they do the study. I think there are a lot of unregistered number, and those number never gets reflected. So let's not demean ourselves. We are already a 10% industry.
All right, I believe, thank you for sharing that thought, sir. We just quickly like to just go at the back to the gentleman, and then of course, if you'd like to recognize his thought, we'll allow you that opportunity as well. So please keep it concise. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. At the outset, Zehan, my compliments to you for having a wonderful mix on the panel. There are media owners, there's agency on board, and of course, the technological side to it. Well, my question to you is, I'm sure Rajneesh Bhai and Alok Bhai would agree with me that there's a lot of sweat and blood that goes into putting up a DOH site altogether because of regulatory things and the limitations on the infrastructure availability. Yeah. So, but when we go to the client, there's always a question about, there's always a debate about static versus DOH. So how do you think, Dinesh sir, how can agencies like Rapo or Madison for that matter can help us out in showcasing that value to the client and ensuring there's a fair adoption and a larger penetration among the brand managers? Yeah.
So when I was talking, I told you, I said before only, it's not only DOH which we need to concentrate, it is how DOH can complement the static. It's going to be a combination of both. Let's not look only at DOH. See, if you're going to look only at one side, the other side is going to go vacant. And then there is going to be a question mark now how to make things happen for you. So we need to work it out in such a manner. That's the reason when I'm talking about, we are talking about the marketing objective. Now, marketing objective can be of various things, okay? In terms of how we are tackling that particular through various omni-channels, as he has explained. Now, here again, it's how we are projecting to the client what kind of a role a static is going to play, what kind of role a DOH is going to play. What ideas on DOH can be done, as there are a lot of creative changes which can happen. There's a lot of cost saving because of the creative changes what is going to happen. There's a lot of anamorphic thing which we do it. So it's a both. So we need to complement DOH. It's an upgraded one. You know, it's a modern technology. It's a modern era of OH industry. I hope I have answered your question.
I'd just like to add to it. So I think instead of going to an agency, with due respect to the agencies and selling the media, rather look at it from a marketing perspective rather than a sales perspective. You have to add value to the client at the end of the day. That's what agencies are doing. What if you find your own clientele in the niche areas of near to your DOH and you can go directly to the clients? For an agency, you are just a small pie in the overall scheme of things. And when we are talking about agencies are one of our clients. And that's why they say that it's a 4,000, 5,000 crore industry. Agencies are just 20 to 25% of the overall out-of-home mix. And everyone in the room knows that, but no one wishes to acknowledge. So, move to the client. They might route through agencies, it doesn't matter. By the way, I do work with a lot of agencies. So that's a disclaimer. Thanks.
Sure, thank you so much. And also, Jahan, would you like to comment on what Mr. Bhattacharya ji had spoken about from anything on the opinion, because I believe you wanted to say something that time?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Dada, you mentioned when I asked how do we do this and who takes the lead? And you said it has to be collaborative. So today morning we had a IOAA and a 3 years of I meeting on audience measurement. Why don't you come on board and we'll collaborate, because the audience measurement that we are doing has been recognized by World Out of Home, and it's actually been given as an example to all developing nations because of the robust methodology that we've followed. So look forward to interacting with you on that.
Thank you so much. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's give our esteemed panelists a big, big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
And also, I'd like to have the opportunity of inviting Ruhail Amin, Senior Editor, BW Business World and Exchange for Media, to help us with the felicitations. We request our panelists to kindly stand up. And of course, thank you so much to each and every one of them for joining us. May we request the mementos to be presented, starting with Mr. Mangesh. Mangesh Shinde, thank you so much for joining us. If we may request you to please step forward, Mr. Shinde, right there. Let's give him a big, big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Dinesh Punjabi. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of our panel discussion. Thank you to Alok. Thank you for joining us today and being a part of our conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, Alok Gupta. Mr. Rajneesh Behel, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our panel discussion. Let's give him a big round of applause. And of course, for curating such an engaging discussion, let's give Mr. Jahan Mehta a big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for joining us. And I feel I do not want to miss the opportunity of having all of you in one frame with Mr. Ruhail Amin. So let's get you all together for a group photograph, all front, with the best of smiles. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a big, big round of applause. Talking on DOH and the omni-channel experience, let's shower them with a bigger round of applause and thank each and every leader being present on stage. Thank you once again to all of you, and thank you for being so kind with your time. Thank you, Ruhail, for joining us. Thank you. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we're going to be going ahead to our next conversation. Let's have a talk on the leadership outlook. Next up, we have the leadership outlook, wherein the industry leaders from some of India's foremost OOH companies will share their perspectives on the current state of the market and their predictions for their future. Trust me, this session you do not want to miss. We're also going to be welcoming our leaders who come from companies like Expedia Group, Connect Network, Platinum Outdoor, the Hindu Group, Lakshya Assets, as well as Group M OH Solutions. Well, with the stage being set for our leaders' welcome, first up, let's welcome Mr. Saibal Gupta, Managing Partner and CEO of Expedia Group. I believe our gentleman is right out there, a long walk for him. Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Harish Nayak, Founder and CEO, Connect Networking. Harish, we request all our speakers to please join us here. Dipankar Sanyal, CEO of Platinum Outdoor. Suresh Balakrishna, CRO of the Hindu Group. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's be more kind with our applause. We also happen to have a leader who's having an expanse of almost 28 years of professional journey with past experiences as the immediate past CBO Advertising and Media of Adani Airports, and also been the CEO of Laksh Hyderabad International Airport. So we had him as an addition and a surprise welcome, Mr. Shashi Sinha, the Chief Business Officer of Lakshya Assets. Let's give Mr. Sinha a warm round of applause. Thank you for honoring us and gracing us on this occasion as well. And ladies and gentlemen, our session chair, we're truly delighted that we have with us Arijit Chakrabarti, Vice President of Strategy and Insights, Group M OOH Solutions. If you'd like to interchange, just as per. All right, I think that's perfect. Thank you so much. Arijit, I leave it to you.
Hello. Yeah, hi. So today we're here to talk about the leadership outlook, and we're here with some of the leading agency CEOs with us. But before we start the conversation, I wanted to kind of, before we look at the outlook, before we look at the future, my thinking was that let's look backwards, and let's not go very far in time, but let's just go as far as 4 years ago when COVID hit. And the fact is that you can basically divide the out-of-home story into two parts. Before COVID and after COVID, BC and AC, not the butter chicken that you think of, and neither are my initials there. But that's the story that comes through. And the idea is that I wanted to first, throw a question across to Saibal here. Saibal, you set up your organization right before COVID hit, and yours is an experiential organization. Keeping in mind the fact that right after you started, 6 feet ki duri hai zaruri came into fruition. So there are certain principles that, you had to create, change, and, adapt as you moved forward. Would you like to elaborate on that from your perspective and how things have evolved?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Saibal. I head Xperia Group. So as Orijit, you were rightly saying that we just curated this organization and we didn't knew that what is going to hit us. And it was the 1st January 2020 we curated, and I joined Xperia formally at 1st March 2020. And you know what fiasco has all of us. Bhagavan aisa din hum dharti walo ko na dikhaye. So what exactly happened is, it was lots of challenges which we have faced, personal challenges. It was a self-funded organization. There was no funding from outside. So we had some few of the key team members with us who had joined at that point of time. We had to pay salaries, we had to pay rents of offices. So that was a very tough time we passed through. So there was a personal challenges, as I'm saying, it was a professional challenges also. Professional challenge, why? Because being in this industry last 3 decades, we have been seeing outdoor as what outdoor is, that billboard. And we have seen those days when I used to work for Selwell in 1995-96, the painted hoarding used to be there. Even I am a painter, I used to paint those hoardings also, once upon a time. So then digital billboard, which used to call that digital billboard at that point of time, it's a flex, which we call. We used to call it vinyl. I think Jahan is there or not, I don't know. So Jahan must be knowing it. So we used to call that digital billboard. So we have seen that, I have seen those days also. And format used to get changed, and now we are talking about digital billboard, which is LED billboard. But for us, LED billboard is also a billboard. This is true understanding of myself, and I have convinced myself first to get out from this job and getting into a business, entrepreneurship, what you can call, that first, we do not want to see advertising. This is for sure. You will also be understanding this, that whenever any advertising comes on your mobile phone, you skip it. You do not want to see advertising. This is for sure. We know that we do not want to see. We'll have to accept it. We know what? We know want to have experiences nowadays, right? Any Gen Z or millennial, you ask them to see any advertising, they hardly see any advertising. But when it is coming to any experience creation, yes, it is happening. Now, what do you mean by experiential advertising, right? So experiential advertising, what we understand is putting promoter, 4 promoter laga diya ji, 1 stall laga diya, that's not the experiential advertising is all about. Since childhood, we came in this age, many things we remember, many things we do not remember. So why we remember many of the incidents in our life? Why? Because those incidents stimulated our 5 senses or some of the senses. Like as I was telling you that day, when you first rode your bicycle, you remember that day, I remember that day. When I've taken my child at my lap, that was the first child when I've taken my lap, so that's the day I remember in my whole life. Why? Because those incidents stimulated my experiences. That exactly we do. And we have tried to sell these ideas, curating logic and magic together with integrating different technologies together. We pitch to our clients those COVID days and even after COVID days. It was challenging because to accept those ideas and to sell those ideas was very, very challenging things. But we've gone through. Now I think we are doing pretty well. We are doing many innovations in the last few of the years. So this is what exactly is the. Now you are talking about principles. Principles, everything, whatever you are doing in the advertising and marketing world, unless until you are not doing anything where the senses get stimulated, either with the content or with any activity or with any impactful advertising, it is not going to go into the proper address to the target audiences, right? So that is my principle is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great to hear about, how to create experiences and stories around it, and the wonderful story about the first bike ride, as one would say. Harish, I'm going to now come over to you. You set up Connect Network in Keep, and you are seeing different challenges coming in. You've also been part of a large network where you've headed it. What are the differential challenges that you see currently as part of this new setup, and how are you using your leadership style to address it?
I think. Hello. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we need to realize the speed of change. I mean, if you look at the change which has happened in last 5 years versus what used to happen 20 years back, the speed has only increased and transformation is part and parcel of the life. So I think that is one big learning for all of us. And I believe last 20 years in the trade, whatever I have been doing, there was not much of a change because what you have done, you succeeded. So you continue to do more of it. I think as a advertising professional and as an agency, I think very, very important that you add value to the client's business. And I think two things are very, very critical. First and the foremost is, I think, people. You need a team who understands the business, who understands the trade, who understands what the future is and what the new demands of the clients are. You need to invest after the people, you need to train them, and you need to keep them ready for the upcoming challenge. I think that is, as a leader, one of the biggest challenge as head of the agency, that is my team up to the task? The second thing is obviously product, in which obviously strategies, data, technology, what value you can add in terms of creative. I think product also has to be niche and different. I think those are the two learnings for me as a head of the business. And I think those are the transformation which we at Connect have gone through in last 2.5 years, and we've been fairly successful. So I think these are the two things which I want to take out of that.
So taking back from you, product and people have been two very important aspects that have helped you grow your business. Excellent. Dipankar, this is going to be a personal plug as well. You've been my mentor, and you've been instrumental in my entry into out-of-home many, many years ago now, which has finally become my career. There are definitely some things that we have done right in out-of-home. Would you like to elaborate on those?
As you rightly said, okay, mentor and all, thanks for accepting that. But the fact of the matter is, what we did right was, I would say that you are the case study. Because when you came in, you were an outsider. Let's look at it that way. Because till then, what we were doing is we were taking people from the same ocean and taking the same fish, expecting them to deliver more. But the point that you came in, the changes that was happening, I think it was 2008, 2009, around that time. A lot of changes which was happening in the industry. And we needed people who were from outside the industry, who would bring value, who would bring an outside perspective. And that exactly what happened. And it worked very well for us. You were with us for quite some time, and we saw that value. We saw how we changed how we approach clients, and those things happened. And that remained with me, even today, we look forward to taking people from outside the system, who bring in new perspective, who bring in the outside knowledge, and then integrate it with outdoor to make it much more robust. So I think that's a good thing that we did.
Shashi, now I'll shift over to you. Taking across from the story of people, which, in a transformative capacity, is what Dipankar spoke about. I understand that you bring a plethora of learning as far as digitalization is concerned, not just in airports, but across, street furniture, etc. How do you see the progress of that in the out-of-home space from a future perspective?
So digital is the way of life. It has invaded our life, our thinking, our being, without our preparing for it, without our planning for it. Email silently crept into our life. Mobile is now in our life. We started sharing data, video, text, without knowing much. All of us, most of us who are not the digital native, we are digital illiterate, but we are so much dependent on digital. So digital is the future, no matter how much we. Only thing is, whatever is the strength of the present system, it creates its own inflexibility. So before I used to say, बच्चे बूढ़े और जवान outdoor देखें एक समान. Because once you have put the billboard, it is visible to everybody. On that Chitrakoot ground, if you put a film poster called Reshma Ki Jawani, it does not only expose the TG, the intended TG, it also exposes the Pudar school bus which goes in the morning looking at that billboard, or in the afternoon when the kids are coming home, they see Reshma Ki Jawani. Now, I'm not getting into a value judgment. What I'm telling you is that there is a wastage of attention, of the media space, of the media time, of the media money. If the same billboard turns into a digital, I get so much of flexibility. I can serve advertising on day part according to the audience that I'm getting, the primacy of audience that I'm getting on that stretch or wherever else. So I know today there is a chasm in the industry. There are some pro DOOH and there are some pro static OH. It is not about that. Technology does not change the fundamental things. I keep saying that people are saying newspaper is dead, magazine is dead. I'm reading Economist on my iPad and I'm reading Economist only. The ads which you're saying have moved out of print and have gone into digital, those ads are still today meant for Economist. Economist is getting that. Economist is a new, they call themselves newspaper. Economist is a magazine. Magazine is not dead. The format has changed. The way we access it is changed. So OH and DOH, I don't think there is a chasm. And DOH is the future, whether you like it or not.
Would you like to elaborate a bit more on airports as a touch point and how you see that evolving in the OH?
Airports have seen early success because what happens, you have a closed ambience, you have a very defined audience psychography. You know, outdoor is demography neutral. It is psychography specific. We meet the same person, but we don't meet the same persona. So psychographically, you are a different guy when you are at airport. You are a different guy when you are in office. You are a different guy when you are at a club or a cinema hall. So when we met these people in the airport, these are the people who either are or they think because they are at the airport and they belong to that 2% universe which flies, they become opinion leader and they adopt it much faster. And in that closed ambience, with that captive audience, digital could do a lot more than if digital had to start on the street side. Because there would be a lot of ambient noise, there would be a lot of ambient illumination, brightness, which would interfere with this. Airport, we really did so well. And we could also showcase, see, where is it going to end? Ultimately, it is convergence. So tomorrow, as IoT is reality today, machine is talking to machine, audience is the same. And you know what today? The audience, we have gone beyond broadcasting, narrow casting, single casting. We are now at point casting. And today the audience is slithering through the medium. I'm saying slither. It's a very degenerative word because reptiles slither because they don't have legs and they don't have control. Today the audience does not have control. It just slithers through medium. Watches TV, reads newspaper, goes on to read some a stupid WhatsApp joke shared by his peers, moves on to whatever. So she does not know she is moving through so many mediums. She is slithering, right? And when you have digital, you will be able to cater to this audience which is slithering through so many things. You will be able to connect all the media, which is what she wants, and you will be in a connected world. And the world has become connected already.
Absolutely. A wonderful description on how, the cross-functionality of media kind of comes through. And this word slithering is something I've heard for the first time used in this context, but really wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for those inputs. Suresh, you have been the CEO of the company that I currently still work for, and thank you for hiring me. Now,
we all make mistakes.
Yeah, I know. So you have now an outsider's perspective on things, being part of the Hindu group. You're in an industry which itself is having to go through, let's say, a digital transformation. What do you think are the key learnings that OH can take from the digital space to help increase its overall contribution within the media pie? Right? We accept that there are challenges for out-of-home in the media pie.
Firstly, thank you, e4m, for inviting me. I don't know what I'm doing on this panel, first of all, because I was in the out-of-home business for exactly 3 years. Of course, in a very nice agency, I must say. But I was there for 3 years. Otherwise, I've been largely what we call the boring conventional media guy and in the advertising agency business. So, firstly, there are some learnings, I think, interesting learnings. I am at the moment in a sunset industry in its physical form. Newspaper business in its physical form today is a sunset industry. In its digital form, it's a sunrise industry. The good part about OH is I think both what you call conventional OH and DOH are both sunrise industries, at least in this country. And I think both will grow in the future, and that's a very positive thing, because I'll tell you the biggest challenge, and you're going to have this challenge for the next, my sense is 5 years. And that challenge is going to be, how do you keep conventional OH growing, making money so it can feed DOH? Right? That's the challenge of most media owners today, that you need, your still lion's share of the money comes from the roadside and what somebody referred to as flex or vinyl or whatever. Your lion's share of the money comes from there. But DOH, you know, is the growing medium and you have to keep feeding it. So that's going to be the challenge, exactly what we are going through. Newspaper business is shrinking. The physical newspaper are, the only thing is you don't have to fight Google and Facebook like the way we have to, right? In that sense, because 80% of the money in digital is taken away by Google and Facebook, and all the publishers put together are fighting for the remaining 20%. That battle, at least you don't have right now, which is a good thing for you. There are no two giants sitting on your head. So I think there is, one is the balancing act. How do you keep this going and DOH growing? That is going to be and what does that create? I was just talking to Haresh. I said, meeting him after almost 2 years, I said, Connect Network, how are you doing? He said, oh, we're doing well. He said, I have X number of people in my OH, and he said, I have 12 people in digital. Now, the fact is, I haven't asked him, but I'm willing to bet that his people in his normal OH business, the average age must be around 30, 35, and his digital must be around 20, 25. That's another challenge that we are going through, that how do you balance this? Because everything is a question of balance. We have these veterans handling our physical newspaper, like you have veterans handling the business, and then you have these young kids who want to work from home, right? Who want, there's a kid who spoke to me last month and he said, sir, I want to have a word with you. I said, yeah, please come. He said, sir, it's been 6 months in the company and I haven't got a promotion. So I said, yeah. So he said, yeah, where's my career going? I said, hello, you've joined 6 months now. He said, yeah, but that's 6 months. You know, that's the perspective. So we are actually, and I think that's going to be, if you're not already handling it, you're going to be handling it very soon, this balance of conventional media, and because the animals required to handle it are slightly different, let's face it. I am no expert on programmatic, I am no expert on digital, right? But my daughter is. So in a similar way, you have the younger guys are the experts on digital, you will have these younger guys in your organization. How do you do the balancing act? That's going to be challenge number 2 as far as the digital business is concerned. And these are critical challenges. They, as you go, and of course the third is the funding of digital media. How are you going to keep it funded while it grows? Because there is an initial investment in digital. Same thing here. Initial investment in digital is very high. But then obviously profitability once it goes up is also extremely high. 5 years down the line, it'll be much more profitable than your conventional business. So how do you, go over your, wonderful situation of going over the bridge right now? Just suck it in, I would say, for 5 years. Suck it in and work through it. This industry will grow super fast.
Very nicely put. 5 years is what the time that we require to kind of transform ourselves. Glad we're all here. We'll catch up. Okay, so taking off from this point, in fact, Suresh, I'm going to come back to you. Leadership styles play a very key role in how companies are managed, how they're perceived, and how they project themselves. I remember personally an OH company which used to take all of its awards and literally download them onto the client's table during a pitch. Though a very gutsy move, but it not just brought them notoriety, but also bought them a lot of business. Suresh, from your perspective, in today's OH environment, once again, an outsider's perspective, what are the leadership skills that you feel are essential to kind of drive an agency's success?
I believe, again, growing industry. So therefore, 2-3 things. Whether you're an agency or a media owner, you should be a risk taker as a leader. And the good part is, at least in the 3 years that I was there, I have not seen a bigger industry taking risks than out of home. I think out of home leaders by natural are risk takers, right? I think that is something that comes from within them. Now Bindu's nodding his head, So, they are naturally risk takers, and you have to be. To succeed in this business, you have to be risk takers, because you got so many things going against you. Oh, you don't have data. Oh, you're not measurable. Oh, this, that, and the other. And you are 3%. Somebody said 10%, whatever. The point is there's somebody trying to put you down. You are always, as a leader, you need to be a risk taker. Secondly, you need to be extremely agile in this business, especially now with this whole DOH and conventional media. I mean, today, if you see the sessions, it's all been about DOH and conventional media, etc. I think you got to be very agile because it's changing very fast. I mean, take an example now. We are struggling. We were preparing for the cookie-less world, and we are saying, we have first party data and all. Now Google has aram se announced that they will take time now in phasing out the cookies. So cookie is going to be there for another 6 months. Last 6 months we've been preparing, saying March mein ho jayega, cookie nikal jayega, and now they are saying December tak abhi cookie niklega ki nahi, we don't know. But the point is that we were preparing for first party data. The changes in the digital happens every day. What is technology today is outdated tomorrow. Right? So you have to be extremely agile as a leader to spot those trends. And third is adaptability. Like I said, you have to be able to adapt to the youngster in your organization and to the veteran in your organization. You've got to be able to handle them both. So I would think you have to be risk taker, you have to be agile, and you have to be very good at adapting as a leader. If you have that, especially in this industry, in the out-of-home industry, those are the other things a leader needs. But if I were to put 3 top things, these are things you need to succeed here, I would think so.
Excellent. Very valid points there. And I like the point about, taking risks. And I think, we as an industry are taking risks, but the question is, are we taking enough number of risks? So that's the other question. So, Sashi, I'd like to shift over to you as the Chief Business Officer of Laksha Media Group. What is your perspective as an insider in terms of the leadership qualities and leadership skills that will drive OH into the future?
So I don't know. Fundamentals are true everywhere, all over the world, across the industry. A leader does only 2 things, and there is no third thing he does. Decision making and forward planning. When you come to a fork, as a leader you have to decide to go left or to go right. Because a leader always moves into the arena of unknown. Everyone else who is a follower follows the leader, and therefore he has some knowledge. So you have to be able to take a decision. And then, what is living? Living is about making the future. If I have no future tomorrow, I stop living today. So a leader has to continuously do forward planning. So in our OOH also, as leaders, you have to continuously make decisions, take decisions, and you have to plan for the future. How that future is emerging, how you are going to adapt yourself, how you're going to encash that future, how you're preparing your organization, your people, your tool technologies, etc. That is what your job as a leader is.
Very valid. And I see a lot of similarity between the answers given by both you as well as
He has been
the
my
session
boss
here.
for some time.
Taken, point taken. So, taking upon, talking about, you spoke about people here initially, the two P's that were very essential. I believe that it's very critical to attract fresh talent. I think, Dipankar, you also spoke briefly about it. In this currently changing environment, are we attracting the right sort of people? This is to you, Harish. Are we attracting the right sort of talent to our organization? If yes, then that's great. If no, then how can we improve it?
I think I'll add to what Suresh spoke, because everyone wants a career in digital.
Yeah.
So obviously there is a challenge in the out-of-home space. Obviously digital out-of-home will change, but then again, you are fighting a challenge. When I was part of a bigger network, the digital agencies would eat into the out-of-home share, and out-of-home would fight कि अरे यार ये तो digital billboard है, and they would say अरे तो digital hai. So obviously there are multifaceted challenge, and as leaders, I think one of the biggest thing is, to invest. As both of them said, that you need to be agile and you need to invest ahead of the curve and take the risk. And I think one of the most important thing is more than hiring, it is also about training, nurturing, and building for the future of not only the organization, but also about the industry. Because one thing I feel, and I think in the last panel discussion, what Alok spoke, and I think me and Dipankar also spoke for a bit, that pitch medicine needs to correct the out-of-home figures. Very, very critical, that the industry size itself is a challenging bit. But coming back to the talent part, if the future is bright, if there are opportunities which are there, which I feel, as Suresh said, that still it's a sunrise industry and there is a lot of opportunity for professionals to actually come. Lot of experiments. I mean, what we are now doing is we are hiring, management trainees from institutes. So I think that there are a couple of ways everyone is trying. And Dipankar also gave your example that you are not from the trade, but I think that is also critical. The best thing about out-of-home is that people are very, very hardworking, very, very passionate. At least I can talk about the industry because I've also for 2-3 years managed other mediums. And I've gone through the challenge of, "Arey yaar, 6 mahina ho gaya, promotion kyun nahi hua?" So gone through that, but at least there is a lot of patience and there is a lot of resilience. And we need to find out and back the right kind of talents.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better. Dipankar, if I were to straitjacket you here, and I were to ask you, what are the top 3 actions that you would like to take in the near future in terms of attracting the right sort of talent, what would that be? What would those 3 points be?
See, the first and foremost is, it is about selling a dream. Yeah, outdoor is a career. It is just not a medium. It's just not a. It's just not a part of an agency. It is a career, right? So you need to first show the career path, okay, and that you can do to a newcomer. Like you said, that he would be going to various institutes, and so selling a dream there, so selling the power of outdoor is something that needs to be done. To evangelize, I mean, just to put the right word, we have to evangelize this media to the younger generation. That's first. Second, the transformation that is happening in outdoor, whether you call it DOH, whether you call it experiential, whether whatever it is happening, that needs to come to the forefront. It cannot be unidimensional. You need to show the multidimensional aspect of outdoor to see the entire power of outdoor, how it folds. Thirdly, I think most importantly, you need to tune the people, tune your employees to be a problem solver. You're just not a media person. You're a problem solver, right? A client is coming to you because there is a problem, right? How you become a problem solver. So you feel important. When you start having all these three aspects, I think this would help create a base of people who would be taking this industry forward and make it more profitable or whatever.
If I can quickly add 2-3 working points on how we can attract talent. One is increase entry-level salaries. In out-of-home, entry-level salaries are very poor. Right, please increase entry-level salaries, because today, if you go to even to an average institute, forget the top institute, the average institute, 4 lakhs and 5 lakhs doesn't cut it as entry-level salaries. You have to get to the, but then what do you do with guys who are 5 years experience and earning 6 lakhs in your agency, right? So those challenges are there, but one of the things you got to do is increase your entry-level salaries. Think of better working environments. It is a conundrum and it's a silly thing to say, but how can you work from home when you're out of home, right? But that is something you will have to provide to the younger generation. You'll have to provide them 2 days a week work from home or 1 day a week work from home. Some kind of flexibility you will have to provide, because their value systems are very, very different from ours. So while I agree with evangelizing out of home, making it sexy, selling out of home, selling DOH, very important, I think they're also they're all people who look after themselves. Yeah, unlike people like you who used to work 18 hours a day. I'm not saying that was good, and what the newer generation is doing is not, I'm not judging, but they want a life of their own, right? They don't think working in office for 18 hours a day is very exciting, however good the job. So provide different working environments, increase entry-level salaries, right? And give them the opportunity to grow, right? I think, and in terms of mobility and stuff like that, these guys get bored very fast. So if he's handling strategy for some time, let him have buying for some time, move his jobs. These are 2-3 things you need to do if you want to excite youngsters to stay in your organization.
A perfect jugalbandi there of, the broad idea, talking about imagination and the actual implementation possibilities. Thank you, both of you. I mean, really, very nicely put. Shoaib, you have a completely different challenge as far as, people are concerned. I understand that in your organization, you have people who can, man a tea stall, an outdoor unit, to a person who does coding as well. That's a very, very diverse, range of people in an organization. How do you manage that, and how do you bring synergies, at scale?
See, actually as Suresh was talking about taking risks, so we have taken lots of risk to set our vision of our organization. No, what is our organization's vision? Vision is out of home. What we see out of home is only billboard and digital billboard. And in the name of digital billboard, digital advertising, digital out of home advertising, what we say it's a digital out of home. Digital billboard, we say digital out of home. But our spectrum is little bigger. So here we are talking about different projection-led advertising, which we call digital advertising, digital out of home. Then laser projection mapping. So if I'll have to hire a talent from the industry, you will not be getting a mapping guy. You will not be getting a coding guy. You will not be getting a programming guy. So we have set our vision in that way. We know exactly what kind of people we need. So we have searched that kind of people from the outside and inside of the industry, from the out-of-home industry, and we have sourced them in. And similarly, we know that who will be our people who will be having that kind of knowledge to sell these products to the client. So that's exactly what we are doing, right? So we are educating people, we are hiring people, and we are making people as per as our concern. Absolutely. That can be creative team, which we have pencil box. So there, what kind of AI and CGI or any kind of content development people which we have there from the industry, and still we have kept our door open for the people who want to join us and to learn more. So that's basically what we are doing.
So one refrain that I keep seeing coming back further and further is that we have to look beyond the confines of out-of-home if we are to look at the proper sort of talent that we're looking at. Now let's kind of change gears and tackle a bit more, thorny issues. So the reality is that, clients are demanding a lot more. But ultimately, let's face it, the plan who gets the business. The plan boils down to money. Clients are nowadays putting their plans on bidding platforms, and may the best man win, as the case may be. Harish, in this situation, and this is considering your new setup, etc. What is the role of strategy that you see here, and the fact that everything is now so dynamic and it's based on coming down to purely cost? How do you tackle that and create greater value for clients in this space?
I think. See, we need to understand our position, and I think if you are an agency or a consultancy to a client, your role is to add value to the client's business. And hence, I feel that strategy, data, and a lot of people might have different opinion about data, but then still there is a lot to be offered to the client and add value to the client, maybe in terms of creative or whatever value. I think agency has a sort of a role to play in that part of the business. But yes, if you look in last 2 years post-COVID, things have drastically changed. There are so many agencies who have come on board. To an industry, it is good because there are many people who are going to sell a single inventory. But on the other side, it is also killing the industry because then with reverse auctioning and fighting internally, you're killing the size, you're killing the value, and you are killing the agencies also on one side. I think the solution to that particular issue is also about empowering the clients, and obviously, as Alok said in the last session, that it's become a procurement-driven sort of a buying. कि यार ठीक है, 10 का माल 4 में दे दे, strategy को बाजू में रख दे. So that is what is happening, but it is up to the agencies to also consult and educate our clients the value of intelligence, the value of the trade. I mean, being in this industry for last 20 years, I mean, me and Dipankar were talking about an example of sites. There are 5 sites in a row. I mean, we all know that these sites are on the same location, but we know the difference in terms of visibility, in terms of angle, in terms of impact. And that is where I think we as specialists need to also empower the marketing team more, put our efforts in terms of educating the marketing team in terms of the value of informed decision. Because आप negotiation करके 10% बचा लोगे, but from strategic thinking and from data, I think you can do up to 20-30% saving if you are taking an informed decision. So I think these are very critical points in the current situations.
So what you're effectively saying is that we need to make it more multidimensional in terms of optimization rather than have a unilateral optimization based only on cost. Fair point. To add to this, Dipankar, if you were to take 3 distinct groups, let's say you have your buying, you have your strategy, and let's say add creative to the mix, what would you talk around, tech-led innovations, and how are they actually adding value to clients at an overall scale?
See, all the 3 things that you said are all 3 different, on 3 different spaces altogether, right? They're all like chalk and cheese, yeah? I mean, they don't mix, but all are equally important. Tech-led innovation, it's like tickling, I mean, you can tickle, you can laugh, but if you tickle more, it becomes boring. But if you look at creative, look at strategy, why is it important to me to have a strategic department or a strategic planning team? It is because you're not like a Nahum's cake or a Kayani's cake that I'll put it up by 9 o'clock, it will be sold. There is a problem with which a client is coming to me, right? A client is coming to me with it could be as basic as that distribution challenges, or it could be as complex as whatever we can think of. So what is the solution that we bring to the table? And that is where the strategic team comes into play, right? What are the insights that you bring in? We talk about data, we keep on talking about data, we talk about DOH, that is immaterial. To me, that is immaterial. To me, it is that have you understood the problem? How embedded are you into the system to understand the client and understand the problem, and you come up with a solution? That is the thing. You may have a data, you may not have a data, you come up with a solution, right? That is one. Second, the creative plays, outdoor is a creative media at the end of the day, right? With, it's the biggest canvas that one can give to the creative. So it's a creative medium. It's all about imagery. Whether the format is small, big, experiential, whatever it is, it's all about imagery, right? What is the impact that is leaving onto you? And end of the day, it is whatever what we say as creative, what we say as innovation, what is the final outcome of that? I mean, just gone are the days of just shaking hands, shaking legs. Those days are gone. Whatever I'm innovating, it costs money. It may be 1 lakh, it may be 1 crore. Whatever that I'm doing, how is it impacting my product? How is it solving my problem? If these three things are getting addressed, then all the three divisions are working. And buying, of course, as everybody is saying that buying is procurement-led, it will be. It's a fact of life. It is going to be procurement-led. It is up to you as an agency. We can keep on saying that they are bringing the value of this commoditizing this industry. But it's our job to go back and to teach the procurement as to the value that you are adding to the marketing team, because often the marketing and the procurement are they don't look eye to eye, and that's where the problem is. So once you bridge that gap, then you will see there's a lot more synergy. I'm not saying that they would stop bringing your price down, but you will see a lot more synergy happening, and hence the value of your proposition goes up. So
one way of I don't know if it will work, but one way of getting out of this commoditization is what the IA has done. I don't know if it's still working, but I'm sure you all heard. The same thing happens in television, the same thing happens in print. All pitches are decided on the Excel sheet. So the IA has got together, all the large media agencies have got together, and they have decided that they are not going to give channel-wise, time band-wise costs on their Excel sheet. All of them have got together and said, we will not give publication-wise costs. We will give a plan, we'll give a newspaper plan cost, we will give a television plan cost, but we will not give a channel-wise, time band-wise cost. Now, is it being implemented? I don't know. I think all senior agencies, all the leaders were there. I think more or less it's getting implemented. But the agencies got together and they took a decision that they will not give Excel sheets. So will that, can the large out-of-home agencies get together and say, whenever we are called for a pitch, we will not give site-wise details. We'll give maybe city-wise plan. We will give you city-wise plan cost. We will not give you. That's one way of handling it, to take it away from, so there is a learning there maybe.
No, but see, the issue in outdoor is the procurement or the client is open to go to the media owner, and that's where the trick lies. The media owner goes and lowers the pant, then you had it. So that's where the challenge is. I mean, as the agencies, we can come together, but the media owners have to join hands to make this happen. Otherwise, everything falls flat.
Lot of points to ponder here. Just want to do a quick time check. What sort of time do we have in hand? 6.5 minutes. Sorry, I didn't see that. I was facing the wrong direction. 6.5 minutes is good. So what I would like to do is, Shoaib, last time, you introduced me to a very nice word. I mean, it was new for me. I don't know for the rest of the audience, called solo-mo. So it's basically the intersection of social media, location, and mobility. How do you see these three, so-called pointers coming together in the next few years for OOH?
So what always we carry in our hand, since we are waking up till we go off for the day, is this device. This device, mobile phone, is always with us. And what we are doing at this, many of the time we are with the applications, and these are all social applications. Am I audible now? Audible. So the social applications, right? Either Facebook, Instagram, or any other the applications which we are. So experiential advertising doesn't happen unless until you put that into a social network. Then only your experience you can share with other people. And that's how the experiential advertising happens. So whatever medium we are talking about, if we do it solo-mo is you are putting it up in the social media. That is social media. You can connect with the social media, that medium. You have that medium as a local awareness. What the local awareness is where the geolocations you are sitting or interacting, and through that medium is interacting with, and mobility. So these three things, when put together with a medium, that medium gets live automatically. So that kind of medium already we have created. We have created in DLF Cyber City. If you'll go, all the leaf lobbies are with us with all interactive projection systems. Those are enabled with Solomo, right? And we are scaling it up with other corporate parks. Similarly, we are doing n number of campaigns inside PVR theaters and other touch points where through mobile phone, when you are scanning any QR code or anything, that becomes your interactive. So similarly, different things can be done with the Solomo, integrating AI, integrating machine learning, integrating many other things. So that's basically Solomo medium is all about, that we are developing.
Beautiful, beautiful. A very new way to look at the intersection of these three points together. Now, Suresh, back to you. So you mentioned across to me, and I think it's pretty common as well, that data is the new oil, right? And this is something that we've all, I think we've all kind of touched upon. The fact is that today companies sit on tons of data, but the question becomes that how does one bring insights from those data, right? The funny part is, and this is what I gathered from my interaction with you, is that in the industry that you're in, which is the newspaper industry, hasn't had a proper research. IRS was last there in 2018, right? So that means 6 years without data, and I believe going well. So does that mean that there is a twist in the tail of data?
It's a fact. We haven't had data in the newspaper industry for 6 years. And the newspaper industry must have read is not doing badly. I'm not saying we're doing very well, but we're not doing badly, at least for the last 3 or 4 years. So I have a different take on data for the out-of-home industry, actually. See, once DOH is already coming in, some amount of organic data you already are getting now, thanks to DOH. Limited maybe to airports, residences, malls, wherever you have DOH available. We recently, as the Hindu group, did one campaign in Bangalore with Add-on-Mo, and we were able to find out how many people we managed to reach and all that because of the screen. So you're getting some data there. Should the industry get together and spend money and do one data, which has always been the question which out of home, I will say don't sweat the small stuff, right? This industry will grow. It's growing because of technology, because of all that. It will continue to grow. So I would recommend that, because I'm experiencing it in the newspaper business. Clients have found their own way of measuring us, right? When the ad comes on that day, do the footfalls go up in their dealerships? That's how they're making, how do you think they're making decisions? Double the size of the out-of-home industry at least, right? I mean, today we're at 20,000 crore industry, the newspaper industry in this country. Clients are spending 20,000 crores without data for the last 6 years. There should be some science to that. The science to that is they have their own ways of measuring. They find out if there is footfalls, does the phone ring, does brand scores go up, brand equity goes up. Then they measure this most of the time. So they have their own ways of finding out whether this medium is working, X newspaper is working better than Y newspaper. And it's working well for us as well. So, and this lack of data has not put pressure on our rates as well. The normal negotiations with agencies goes on. And of course, there's an overall pressure on yields because the newspaper business is going down. But otherwise, there's no pressure because there's no data. So, I'm therefore giving you a different spin that you are anyway getting some data from the digital business that you have. Grow that data, use it. And the most important thing is, even if you get the data, how do you use it? You're talking about tons of data. The thing about data is that it's very sexy to have, but how do you use the data? And most of us don't use it. I can tell you that, right? You sit on the data and it's usually during a pitch presentation that we show the data, but we don't actually use it in our actual day-to-day planning. So there is a conundrum there as well. So data now is Hathi ke Dant, as far as I'm concerned. So you should have something to show, but I don't think you should sweat the small stuff. This industry, nobody can stop it from growing, your out-of-home industry. I think it'll continue to grow and the best man will win.
Long live data. Okay, so Harish, I think I want to flip this over across to you because I'm aware that yes, you have been a practitioner of data and you're aware of its transformative capabilities in the OH space. What do you believe can be best leveraged for, I mean, what data can be best leveraged for OH and, you know, place, location-based data? Would you like to elaborate on that story?
I think two things. One is what Suresh said, ki Hindu does not have any data, and obviously the newspaper industry does not have any data, but Hindu group has in terms of, you know, what is the circulation data and everything. Abhi, when we go to digital, you know, Facebook would give their own data and we would all say, yes, yes, Facebook numbers are right. Google numbers are right. If Junaid says कि मैं रोशन हूँ और मेरे होर्डिंग के पास से, you know, so much traffic is going, authenticity is questionable. No one is going to question. So I think relevance of data and non-relevance of data, I mean, data is there, but who is going to trust that data? Now, when we talk of data, yes, you need to compete and you need to ensure that you are securing your pie of share. That's where I think data is required for all of us, because at the end of the day, I think we are also competing with other mediums like digital or connected TV or television or whatever medium it is there. And I think there is a lot of second party independent data which all of us as professionals know, which can be used. And most of us, I was talking to Junaid during the lunch, he said he has geofencing and he has data for traditional media also. And I think a lot of people in the trade are also evolving and understanding the new ways of dealing with the medium. There is a Google API which is available. Now Google API is nothing but point of interest. People who go to coffee shop or mall or corporate parks, that data is easily available through Google APIs. Why don't you use that data and create a heat map and figure out where in a city the audience goes and try and reach there? So there are a lot of data which is available, and second party data right from census, GIS, TGI. You can sink in a lot of data points which are there, but as you rightly said, हाथी के दांत है, but वो दांत जरूरी है, नहीं तो हाथी से कोई डरेगा नहीं.
So true. So as we start winding down, Sashi, over to you. From an airport perspective, what are the three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight? Three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight.
I didn't get your question.
From an airport's perspective, what are the three leadership outlook points that you'd like to highlight for airports?
Leadership outlook.
How would you look at airports evolving, let's say, in the near future? Sorry.
So I see it as a unified part of out of home. Only thing is, because it is airport, it has some basic inherent advantages. So you know the gross reach, which is in the public domain. So how many people cross through my airports is there on AI website and anyone can check it. Now, net OTS anyway, you will not be able to calculate. And then if I understand that my airport is a granular space and I'm getting people who are in different psychographic stages on arrival tract or on departure tract, or I even know that on arrival also there are two kinds of psychographies which are coming. Some people are returnees who had gone out and are coming back, and some people are visitors. If I understand all these in so much detail, I exactly know what kind of messaging and what kind of impact I can be able to create.
Fair. Shoaib, what's keeping you awake? 3 points.
3 points, basically to increase out-of-home share or what?
Yeah. From a leadership perspective.
Leadership perspective. See, large format LED sites has to come up, and this is going to come up. Yeah. Corporations will be giving permissions. This is my gut feel, and it is going to happen. Because across the globe, when it is happening, here also it is going to happen. Small billboards will go. It will be there in the tier 2, tier 3 towns, right? Impact sites will be more in the metros, right? So this is going to happen. And more experiential and tech-led things will going to be taken in the market, right? AI, CGI, and machine learning, robotics will take off. So that is my basically point of view.
Very valid. Harish, would you like to add 3 of your points to this mix?
I think three very important point is, I think, survival of the fittest. I would take that because as an industry practitioner and as a professional in this particular space, I think competition is ever increasing and challenges are going to be there. And I think as a leader, we need to gear ourselves and also our team to ensure that we are ready for the future. I think that would be the first point. Second point is, being ambitious and being open to newer transformation. I think we all need to understand that if a client is taking a decision, informed decision using a data or some creative, then we should be up there to ensure that we are adding value to the client's business. And as leaders, I think we need to ensure that we are up to the challenge and we are there to add value to the client's business. Whatever is helping the client to take an informed decision and a better decision, I think that is the second point. And I think the third point, as a leader, I think it is very important for us to also support the industry and look at our trade bodies or our partners, or Suresh gave an example that why can't we all come together and ensure that we look at a certain way of dealing with this price sensitive market. Is there anything which we can as teams collaborate and ensure for the betterment of the industry? I think these are the three things we should look at.
I'm informed that there's a lack of time, if that's okay. So extremely sorry, Suresh and Dipankar. But yeah, wonderful. I mean, it was truly a pleasure, interacting with you, and a lot of great points, I believe, that we can take back.
I think, Mr. Chakrabarti, the applause said it all. We'd like to humbly thank you for curating this conversation ahead for us. We'd also like to have the opportunity of inviting Jayesh Yagnik, the CEO of Moms Outdoor Media, to help us with the felicitation of all our eminent panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, a big, big round of applause. And may we request all our panelists to please stand up and allow us with the opportunity of felicitating each and every one of you on the stage today. So starting with Mr. Sinha. So let's give Mr. Shashi Sinha a warm round of applause. And of course, Jayesh in the frame. Mr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Saibal Gupta. Mr. Nayak. Ladies and gentlemen, a big, big round of applause for Mr. Harish Nayak. Mr. Sanyal, thank you so much for joining us today. Mr. Dipankar Sanyal. Mr. Balakrishna, thank you so much for joining us today. We'd like to also applaud for you. He's been so supportive. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Suresh Balakrishna. And of course, our session chair, ladies and gentlemen, Arijit Chakrabarti. Thank you so much, Arijit, for joining us. And we'd also like to have the opportunity of having all of you in one frame, along with Jayesh, to make it even more memorable for us at the e4m OH Conference 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, let's support them with a big, big round of applause. The leadership outlook, and we couldn't have expected better leaders to be present on the stage. Well, up next on the other side, we're going to be having a very engaging conversation with Mr. Ajay Mehta, who's the MD of Group M OH Solutions. And post that, we are going to have the iconic Sam Balsara for the closing remarks. But I know that all of you might need to refuel yourself with a coffee and tea. We'd urge you to grab one and come back inside, as there's no break, but we're giving you a couple of minutes to do that so that we can have you refreshed for the next round. Thank you so much. We'd request you to grab your coffee and tea and join us back in the next 5 minutes. Thank you.
I know it's in your heart. I seen it in your heart.
check. Ladies and gentlemen, may we urge all of you to join us back from the pre-function area into the main hall. As we had said that this is going to be a very short one wherein we just request you to take the coffee cups back inside. So all the ones in the pre-function area, may we urge you to please join us back. And we can continue with the networking post the event, but it is time for us to welcome our next leader on the stage. May we urge all of you to kindly step in from the pre-function area into the main hall and continue with the networking at the end of the event. Remember, we've got two great leaders coming on the other side. So let's welcome them shortly, and may we urge all of you to please bring in your coffee cups or tea cups inside and be seated. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, may we urge all of you to kindly join us back as our leaders set. Remember, we've got two great, incredible sessions on the other side. We'd urge all of you, in interest of time, to please join us back. We thought that a refuel is important for you, but at the same time, we do not want you to take the liberty of networking further. We would want you to network at the end of the event, so it's a humble request from our side. We'd urge all of you to please join us back in the main hall. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of reminders. We're going to be re-beginning with our event. May we request all of you to kindly join us back in the main hall. We'd urge all of you to bring in your cup of coffee and tea inside. Let's network at the end of the event. We'd urge each and every one of you to kindly step in. On the other side, remember, we've got two great leaders joining us, and these are not to be missed sessions. So we'd urge all of you from the pre-function area to kindly join us back. Ladies and gentlemen, one final announcement for all of you who are in the pre-function area. We request you and urge you to please join us back. I know the coffee and tea would have refueled your energy, but at the same time, we'd urge you to join us back so that we can continue and give the due respect to our upcoming speaker. We'd urge you for one final announcement to join us back. Thank you. And for all the ones who joined us, thank you. So we'd also like to appreciate the ones here who are seated, who are kind with their time. Cheers with a coffee, tea, or water, whichever you have to your liking. Ladies and gentlemen, one final cue for all of you to please join us back. We need you back in numbers. Let's network post the event. We have enough and more, and trust me, there's going to be the Neon Awards as well, so a lot to celebrate on. We'd urge each and every one of you outside in the pre-function area, if the team is guiding you back in the main hall, please adhere to that, and requesting you to join us back. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 5th edition of the e4m OOH Conference 2024. Well, before we begin with our next session, I'd like to pay a gratitude to our presenting partner, Lemma, an omni-channel platform for emerging media. With that, if we can have the partner presentation before we go on to the next session. Let's go ahead with that. So well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, the much awaited fireside chat is right here. It's indeed our honor to now call upon our esteemed speaker to the stage. Let's give a warm round of applause to none other than Mr. Ajay Mehta, MD Group OOH Solutions, to join us with a mighty round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for honoring us with your presence, and we couldn't have had anyone better than Miss Kanchan Srivastava, Senior Assistant Editor at exchangeformedia.com, to curate this conversation. As you're aware, Group M OOH Solutions, one of India's leading out-of-home advertising agencies under Group M, and it's indeed going to be a keen conversation to get to know our leader better and what lies ahead. With that, Kanchan, I leave it to you for the curation.
A very warm welcome to all of you. Yeah. And thank God, I think the hall is fully packed now. So a huge round of applause to all of us. So as we know that out-of-home advertising has seen a remarkable growth over the last 2 years in terms of, innovation, creativity, and expansion. And in terms of revenue as well, it reached 13% growth in 2023 compared to a year ago as per Pitch Madison report. And 2024 could be even better because the number of airports, metro rail, digital screens, they are all, continue to rise. And the pie of OOH is also going to be, up. So let's understand the key trends and future possibilities from the horse's mouth. Welcome, Ajay, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Ajay, you have been in this industry for many years. So I would really like to know what excites you the most, in terms of the future of OOH, and what kind of key trends you foresee, shaping the industry at present.
So, what excites me the most is the possibility of a transition, right? I mean, if historically you look at out of home, it's been a disorganized industry. And I think value and great businesses are created when there's a transformation from a disorganized space to an organized space. I think with the advent of digital out of home, which will lead to programmatic, etc., uh, airports, as you mentioned, and other modern touch points coming in, scale of the industry growing. I think these are all great pointers to the whole industry getting organized. And when you get organized, tremendous growth can be created, and that's what keeps me excited.
So can you please share, some of the case studies where OH has played a key role in delivering success for the brands?
So there are multiple. I mean, since we are in Mumbai, I'll talk about a campaign or a client of ours which is really active in Mumbai. I mean, anyone who's been on the roads of Mumbai will know Netflix is so visible and active when it comes to out-of-home spaces. Netflix as a category leader in the OTT space has two kind of target audience. So while it's obviously talking to consumers, but when it's in Mumbai, it's also talking to folks in the industry, right? It's showcasing its capabilities and the marketing muscle. And I think it's been noticed not just by consumers. They've taken initiative of investing in new touch points, be it digital bus shelters. They were the first ones to take them on board, or making long-term bets on key roads. So I think Netflix is a great example of how a brand can be built on the back of out of home. Also, there are enough innovations which have been done. For example, something which went viral some time back, something which we'd done in Gurgaon, which was दूध मांगोगे दूध मिलेगा खीर मांगोगे खीर मिलेगी, which everyone kind of took over. That's an example on how out of home, they just invested in one site, each of the brands. But it has, out of home has the capability and the opportunity where things can go viral very quickly. And that creates a huge opportunity for brands. So that's another example. I mean, depending on how much time we have, I can give you 10 more. But these are just two examples, and why I brought out these two, because they're completely different in their application, but the results are still the same of creating chatter around the brand.
Yeah, very interesting actually. Ajay, collaborations are, very crucial in B2B space. So we would like to understand how does Group M collaborates with, other agencies to deliver integrated solutions?
So, of course, B2B is very important. There's a lot of great work being done by multiple companies in the whole out-of-home space, be it in analytics, be it in programmatic, be it in content creation. We are always on the lookout of partnering with like-minded companies who will help us deliver better solutions to our clients. At the core of everything that we do, at the center of everything we do, is our client. So anything which will help deliver business results for our client, we are happy to collaborate with them. So we work with multiple companies. We work with location data companies. We work with SSPs, DSPs when it comes to programmatic. We work with people in delivering tech-based innovations. So multiple examples. While I wouldn't want to take names of those companies, but we're on the lookout. So if there is somebody in the audience who represents a company who wants to partner with us, we are all ears. We are always open to new solutions. I think somebody in the previous panel spoke about agility. Good ideas are not the domain of particular people. Good technologies are not the domain of few companies. So anyone who has that, we are happy to partner with.
So Ajay is here. You can, connect with him after the session. So Ajay, measurement and ROI, they have been, two key challenges in this segment. And how do you approach measurement and demonstrate effectiveness of the campaigns of your clients?
So, David Ogilvy had once said that 50% of your advertising money is wasted. The question is which 50%, right? It's one of the most famous quotes on advertising. I heard it first, maybe 20, 25 years ago. And I think when it came to outdoor till recently, it was very true. Maybe even more than 50%, you didn't know where it was going. But I think it's changed very rapidly. I think we've been at the forefront of it. If I can pat myself on the back, our teams have worked extensively over the last few years. We deliver a full stack of campaign analytics. We can tell you not just how many people saw your campaign, we can tell you their profile, we can tell you how they've interacted with the brand, and has there been any further move, whether they've gone, seen your, downloaded your app, gone into your store, etc. Attribution, right? So we do it in our own unique manner. We do it through partnerships. We do it through our own proprietary data. And I think today, when we are talking about high growth industries, when we are talking about the fact that out of home after digital is probably the fastest growing of all the mediums, lack of measurability is inexcusable. So measuring ROI is core to any advertising investment. And anyone who discards that or does not pay attention to it is doing a disservice not just to their clients but to themselves. Also at an industry level, there is a lot of conversation which I hope will be fruitful. But as of today, we have our own proprietary measurement practice, measurement solution, which I'm finding more and more clients don't just want it, they're willing to even pay for it.
I think some of the other panelists also talk about, such kind of solutions. But I think all those are individual efforts. So do you think that having a unified measurement system will actually help the industry to grow further?
So anything which is credible comes from the industry, sure, but it has to be credible. It has to be accepted not just by the agencies, but has to be accepted by the clients. And anything which you do without consultation with the clients will, according to me, not be a starter. But anything which the clients accept and helps them answer the problems which they face in this medium is definitely something which we as out-of-home agencies should very aggressively be working towards. So to answer your question, absolutely a unified system will help, but it has to be credible. It has to be something which is foolproof. It cannot have flaws. It cannot have gaps. It cannot be questioned. It has to be something which is recognized to be authentic. So that is the effort, and I think there are a lot of conversations around this, and I think we are probably not too far from landing such a system.
According to you, what are the hurdles, which prevent, having such a measurement system?
I think a hurdle, not just in the measurement system, but in the whole industry, is that it's extremely fragmented. Right? Today, from a media ownership perspective, you're already seeing a lot of consolidation happening, which I hope continues. Because the moment you have that, you have people who understand the value of things like measurement, who understand the value of transparent pricing. The moment you get organized players in, people who understand, who can see future trends, who digital out-of-home or programmatic digital out-of-home, for example, the moment you have like-minded people who you can have a conversation with, who can come on a common platform and understand the challenges of which this industry is facing, you'll see rapid progress. The problem is it's so fragmented today. If you want to create a unified measurement system, it has to be, I mean, there may be more than 1,000 media owners. A lot of them are absolutely no interest in walking down this path of measurability. They survive, in fact, thrive in opaqueness, right? So the moment you tackle that, or at least take the large share of the total spends to the organized sector, you'll see a lot of progress in multiple aspects of this industry, especially measurable.
You mentioned very pertinent points. Thank you. And Ajay, sustainability is, very important consideration for businesses now. How do you approach sustainability, and how do you ensure, that you have sustainable model in your functioning?
So, I mean, more than being, business people or advertising or media professionals, I think we're all citizens. So the first thing to recognize is the importance of all of this. And I'd see a lot of, so for example, we've done away with paper usage, right? All our, there's hardly any paper used. That's at the core in our offices. We don't use single-use plastic in our offices, for example. So there are things like that, which is at very basic level, but every step counts. I think you're seeing a lot of solar energy being used to power billboards and other formats in out of home. We encourage and we are happy to partner with people, and I think our clients will also recognize that and invest and give preferential treatment to anything which is more sustainable.
Interactive billboards are also getting very popular these days. Considering India's population, I wonder, how do you manage, such massive campaigns?
So, very interestingly, today, out of home, if you're doing an interactive campaign or an anamorphic campaign, a lot of people, I think, again, somebody spoke about this earlier, there is a direct connection between outdoor and social media, right? So how you leverage social media, obviously we don't want a situation that you do it in one space and just use social media to amplify it. That defeats the very purpose. But how you intelligently use it matters a lot. I mean, we are part of Group M, so we believe in providing integrated solutions. So a lot of times social media can be used or the internet can be used to amplify it effectively. You also, see how you can create a complete surround sound around all of this. I spoke about the campaign Kheer Mangoge and Doodh Mangoge. While that was not anamorphic hoarding, but it was just put up on 2 unipoles in Gurgaon, but the whole country was talking about it. So it's a question of how you use it intelligently. I think also as digital out-of-home assets multiply and so you will have a lot more opportunity of taking it beyond the Mumbai and Delhis of the world. And that's when the real impact of these kind of technologies will come into play. Today, even in Delhi, I mean, unlike Bombay, where Western Express Highway, a lot of billboards are converted into digital billboards. In Delhi, it's only limited to very few, which are not big in size. It's in restricted geography, hyperlocal markets. So, I mean, we're just at the start of this whole revolution. So this whole game is going to change by the time maybe we are here next year, because a lot of municipalities are seeing the advantage of this. They're seeing that it can be a revenue source. Of course, you have to keep safety, etc. in mind. But I think we are at the cusp of it. There's a supply side revolution which is happening. More and more clients are understanding the importance of this, and agencies are also realizing how they can integrate all the offerings together to create a larger impact.
Now I would like to have 3, rapid fire questions. Among your contemporaries, who would you like to see in, among your contemporaries, who would you like to see in Madam Tussauds Museum?
I think Mr. Balsara right here.
Oh, that's great. Which agency's work do you admire the most, apart from yours, of course?
I intend keeping my job, so I will just say Group M.
Given a chance, with whom would you like to exchange your portfolio? Within Group M?
I'll answer it differently. I can tell you whose job I wouldn't want, and that is my boss, PK's. He does a stellar job, and I don't think too many other people can do what he does.
Thank you so much, Ajay, for taking time out for this engaging
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you.
Well, with that, I think Mr. Mehta deserves a mighty round of applause. Let's give him on that for sharing your experiences today. We'd urge both of you to come together for a photograph, and of course, later we'll request the team to send in a memento on stage so that Kanchan can do us the honor of giving the memento to our leader on stage. So with that, Kanchan, we request you to hand a memento from the team side. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a big, big round of applause. This is all happening at the 5th edition of the e4m OH conference. One more nuance of a photo right there. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you're having a great time at the 5th edition of e4m OH Conference 2024. We've had an engaging start, an informative day throughout, but it is now time for our final session of the day, a closing keynote. Get ready to gain those valuable insights into the future of OH advertising with a focus on emerging technologies and trends. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed speaker who absolutely needs no introduction. The entire crowd, industry, and everybody watching us live would know him. Let's give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sam Balsara, Chairman of Madison World. Thank you, Mr. Balsara. Always an honor. Please.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to speak to you again this evening. I know it's the end of a long day, but I guess not so long considering all of us are interested so much in OH. I don't know if I can be called an expert in OH, but yes, I have been in the A&M industry for some time and possibly have a good understanding of how each medium works and interacts with the other. And on OH, I have over the years developed a point of view on what outdoor should do to grow this medium and catch the fancy of more advertisers. I therefore titled my talk, "How do we grow OH share to 10% from the current 4%? I must confess that some of these thoughts I did express at the WOO conference in Malaysia, and I think a handful of you were there, so my apologies to them if this sounds like a repetition. WARC, W-A-R-C, who many of you have heard me talk about, who puts out estimates of ADEX for the world and for many countries, and who I believe offers us a reliable, credible, and independent source, estimates that this year, global ADEX will record an ad spend of over $1 trillion and will establish a compound annual growth rate of 7% in the last 5 years. Now, by Indian standards, 7% may not sound impressive, but remember, I'm talking about global ADEX, and the 5 years includes one COVID year or probably 1.5 COVID years. So I think growth rates in the advertising market globally can be considered impressive by today's standards. Whilst growth rates from 2018 to 2022 have been yo-yoing, as you can see in this chart, from a high of 17.7 to a low of 1.3. The good news is that we are now seeing a steady accelerating growth from 3.5% in 2022 to a projected 8.3% in 2024. Remember, now I'm talking about global ADEX because I want to give you a global picture of what is happening cumulatively when you combine all countries together, because I believe that is required to get a better understanding of what we need to do to grow the OH market in India. Now, everybody knows this, but it jolts me every time I see charts like this, that digital continues to grow by leaps and bounds and has increased its share even in the last 5 years from 69% to a projected 75% in 2024. The change is, of course, much more dramatic if you took the last 10 years. And what's more, digital is the only medium that has really grown in share in the last 5 years. So it has grown actually at the expense of every other medium, including the mighty television. Print, as we all know, has lost serious market share to digital in the last decade. But the good news is that in the last 5 years, the rate of decline has lowered. Of course, in India, you must know that the story for print is a little different from the rest of the world. Against a global share of just 3%, print in India commands a share of 19%. Also, unfortunately, WARC expects OH globally to drop share in 2024. So here is an interesting chart I put together, and I have not seen many do this kind of analysis. You will see in this chart that digital has not just grown as a standalone medium, but digital technology has penetrated every other medium significantly. In television, we have connected TV, where the delivery is through use of digital technology, and that contributes 17% now to total TV. In OH, digital contributes 32% to overall OH. Print's web versions contribute 30% to print publishers' revenue, and podcasts and whatnot contribute 35% to radio or audio. So it does strike me that very soon we will have to really recategorize these labels of print and TV and radio and conceptualize some other terminology to give us a better understanding of how intermedia is working. Of course, television and digital universally across the world in almost every country are the two big boys and contribute close to 90% of ADEX. So really, when one talks about advertising, you could say it's all about television and digital. And I think it is for us in this room to take on the challenge of bringing outdoor into this set. If I take a closer look at the OH medium, including digital OH, WARC estimates that total ADEX in 2024 will be at 53 billion USD, up from 49 billion, with almost the entire increase coming from digital OH. If I go into some details, after degrowing 14% during COVID year, note globally ADEX in OH ADEX degrew only 14%. In India, there was a big carnage. But then OH grew very sharply by 20% in 2021 and now is expected to grow by 7% in 2024. If you take the last few years, you will see from this graph that total ADEX and OH ADEX mirror similar growth rates. This is good news according to me, because if you take the 10-year period before the last few years, OH growth always lagged total ADEX growth. So it does tell me that recognition of digital OH is tremendous, its contribution is tremendous, and its recognition by the advertiser is also now getting firmly established or appreciated. Now, this is a nice, the next chart is a very nice chart where I have tried to do an analysis to see which countries have the highest growth of OH share. Now you will see in this table that China tops the list for the last 3 years with a share that is almost 4 times that of the global average. According to WARC, in China, OH share is 14% against the global share of 3%. The other countries with a high market share besides China are Japan, France, Germany, to some extent Australia and Brazil. Perhaps this chart leads me to make a suggestion to IOAA that they should undertake a study tour and take its leading members to these countries, especially China, Japan, and France, to study what circumstances have led to these countries having such a high OH share. I've also tried to do an analysis to see whether there are sharp differences in category-wise contribution to global ADEX and OH ADEX, to see if OH in India should give special attention to certain categories. I must say that this analysis shows that the differences in global ADEX listing and OH listing by category are not very different, except FMCG, which is under-indexed on OH. And in India, the extent of under-indexing is huge because FMCG accounts for 33% of Indian ADEX, whereas it accounts for only 7 to 8% of Indian OH. Another area where OH is under-indexed seems to be technology and electronics, which are indeed growing areas, and therefore I think we must make special efforts with advertisers in these categories to convince them about OH's capability in building brands in these categories. Now, in the interest of time, I will not dwell so much on the Indian OH ADEX and total Indian ADEX. I trust all of you are a little familiar with our pitch Madison figures that we put out every February. Suffice it to say, in 23, our OH share of total ADEX was 4%, similar to the global share. But fortunately for us, our growth rate at 13% is almost twice the global growth rate, which is indeed very good news for everyone in this room. And it tells me that we are doing a much better job in OH than the rest of our colleagues around the world. Now, the next chart is unfortunately not very flattering. As you know, the world now has substantial computing power and it's available at relatively cheap prices. And there are consultants and companies who do all kinds of sophisticated analysis to satisfy the advertiser's desire to calculate ROI on ad spend. This is, of course, understandable considering that our advertiser friends are going to spend a little over $1 trillion in 2024 in advertising. This chart, put out by a respectable company, Ubiquity and Gain Theory, based on as many as 1954 observations, suggests that television delivers the highest ROI at 71%. Online video, radio, and unfortunately OH also gets clubbed here, delivers only just 3 to 4%. Thankfully, not many advertisers are taking this chart very seriously. So, on a contrasting note, since the focus of my talk is how do we increase our market share to 10%, I spoke to a few advertisers who use outdoor, but who also use other media like television and print and digital to see what is their view on outdoor. So let's take a look at two advertisers from the finance category, which does use outdoor in a big way, and see what they have to say. My purpose in showing these next few videos is to see if you can pick out something from what they are saying, obviously good for outdoor, to take this idea and take it to more advertisers. Can we have the video?
I've always loved out of home for three specific reasons. One, in its large format options, it's like cinema. It gives the brand real stature, which used to be static, but now thanks to digital outdoor, it's also dynamic, and so it's exactly like film on a large screen outdoors. The second reason is that it's flexible. I can change messaging overnight. I can be really tactical. I can respond to things in the environment. And the third is it can get really hyper local. For example, around our branches, I can make really local messaging, etc. The one thing I want from the industry is I want monitoring which is reliable, and I want standardization of the metrics.
Take a look at what another mutual fund advertiser has to say.
Hi friends, I'm Jignesh Dowda, Vice President Marketing at IDFC Mutual Funds. In today's world, where we have plethora of options to showcase our products and services via TV, print, digital and outdoor, I personally feel outdoor has a great opportunity to go ahead. Being the oldest medium in the world, outdoor provides you with opportunities of doing a CSR, like giving back to the society by maintaining gardens and circles. Outdoor also has a great opportunity to be there as an impact and always on. Unlike other mediums where you can skip the ads or you can switch the channels or the shelf life is one day, outdoor has great opportunity of providing you a long lasting effect. Thank you.
Go to, yeah, here is the Vice President Marketing of Parley Agro. He says, we at Parley Agro use outdoor quite extensively during our peak season because we find that outdoor delivers all our messages with great impact, and the ROI on outdoor is also good. During season, we spend 20% of our media budget on outdoor. So here is a large advertiser who spends 20% on outdoor, but at a macro level, our share is only 4%. Now see what a large Indian automotive maker who is making a lot of news these days says.
Hi, this is Vivek Srivat from Tata Motors. Over the last few campaigns, we've increasingly depended on out-of-home media to spread our brand message. It gives us a very key advantage by repeatability and thus enhancing consideration among the target audience. And for a high engagement category like automotive and cars, repeat visibility and the ability to showcase our product over a large landscape provides a very, very important advantage. And for me, the biggest advantage with out-of-home as a media is to provide uniform messaging across the country simultaneously and over a long period of time, which makes it a very, very strong medium. And I believe out-of-home will continue to gain significance and relevance in the future. Thank you.
And my last video is from the CMO of a FMCG company. Remember, FMCG contributes 33% to India's ADEX.
Outdoor is an ideal media choice for rapid awareness generation, could be for a new brand launch or a brand restage. I think when used in combination with other mediums, outdoor tends to not only build reach but also significantly boost brand fame. I think one of the ways to look at improving ROI is to plan for micro clusters, which are over-indexed on your brand volume or your source of growth, rather than look at a city-wise bombardment. I think measurement is still a pain point with no third-party syndicated data source providing reach, frequency, delivery numbers. I think this can potentially unlock investments at scale once integrated into cross-media planning tools. Thank you.
So by and large, I think all of you would agree, these are really glowing tributes in favor of the outdoor medium and from a wide spectrum of people. Then of course, as intelligent people, we should ask ourselves this question: why is our share just 4%? Now, I have some hypotheses based on my limited experience. The first, I would say, is widespread diffused ownership. A lot of the issues could get resolved if there are few large corporate players with good holding power to deal with agencies, clients, and equally with the authorities. There is, unfortunately, lack of widespread advertiser confidence. This stems from lack of credible third-party monitoring, third-party credible industry-supported and recognized viewership data. But I think on this point, we are making some good progress. The progress is there, but unfortunately, it's very slow. But we should consider ourselves lucky that after, I think, 15 years of trying, we are making some progress. And very importantly, lack of clear guidelines of local regulatory bodies rendering legality of the sites in question. About 2 years ago, I was involved in one ugly incident where I think 3 of Madison clients were involved who got serious notices from the government for going foul of the law. Now imagine if such a notice goes to the managing director or the CEO of the company, is he going to allow his company to be open to such risks and take outdoor? Obviously not. But so we have to do something about it. We have to impress the powers that be to get their act right. Another point that I'd like to make, wearing my cross-media hat, is that there are inadequate selling efforts by sales teams to both educate and sell to media planning agencies and advertisers, resulting in inadequate awareness of the opportunities that exist in outdoor, unlike the efforts put in by print, TV, radio, and digital. I somehow get the feeling that outdoor site owners don't make a conscious attempt to reach out to advertisers to convince them about the brand building capability of outdoor and sell what they have to sell, unlike other mediums. Now, all of this, to my mind, has resulted in a small customer base of advertisers who spend big money on outdoor. This is a telling chart that I've tried to put together. It's not perfect, but it gives you some sort of directional data as to why OH is not growing as much as we want it to. To start with, see how few serious advertisers we have who spend more than 1 crore rupees on outdoor. Just 550 is our estimate. Maybe somebody else may come up with an estimate of 750. That's fine. But see the number of advertisers in print. See the number of advertisers in TV. 10,679. So the if you really ask me, I think the one important thing that we as an industry have to do is to sell the concept of OH or outdoor to large advertisers. Surely in the country, there are so many large advertisers. Take a look at our Pitch Madison list and see how many of these large advertisers spend nothing on OH. So, in closing, what should we do to target this 10% share of ADEX, say 3 or 5 years from now? First, let me state that I personally am extremely bullish about the prospects of OH in the coming years in India because of the arrival of technology in OH, the arrival and rapid adoption of digital OH, and the immense possibility that programmatic will offer to advertisers, which enables optimum use of even non-marquee sites. As some of you know, I have put my money where my mouth is and invested in Lemma, which you see in quite a few places in this room today. All of this, I think, will allow OH to operate not just in the OH market, which is estimated at 4%, but participate in the larger digital market and the larger TV market, whose main characteristics are audio plus visual, which has been lapped up by advertisers. Advertisers conventionally have always believed that their message, when it's in audio plus visual, is far more powerful than when it's only in print or only in audio in radio. But I believe to take advantage of this, we need to do a few things. We need to develop category-wise knowledge and expertise. We need to develop case studies of when outdoor works and how it works, what works in outdoor, and equally importantly, what doesn't work in outdoor. Understand why some countries do better, China and Japan in particular. Understand why some categories do better, like retail. And we need to present these case studies and talk about this in A&M industry fora and A&M journals and websites and in one-to-one meetings with agency and advertisers. We then need to develop testimonials from prominent marketing people who have used outdoor and are happy with it and are willing to speak about it, like some that I showed you today. We need to get the media planner at the main media agency, not the outdoor media agency, who is conventionally media agnostic and who has the ear of the advertisers to be familiar with successful outdoor case studies, the opportunities available, and the mechanics in terms of rates, impressions, viewership, and whatnot. And of course, we need to build advertiser confidence in outdoor, trying to take care of as many impediments that I mentioned before. My last point is on the importance of creative in outdoor. Historically, creative reputations of individuals or agencies have never been built on creative created for outdoor. Advertisers also spend 95% of their time agonizing or developing creative for advertising films, and even those who use outdoor do not pay adequate attention to creative used on outdoor. I believe this is a real acute problem that is preventing outdoor from reaching its full potential. I think if we address this problem alone, it would improve outdoor share from 4% to at least 6%. Because if you're not going to focus on what is on the site, how will it ever work for the advertiser? Now, I'm told my time is up, so I won't bore you with some of the creatives that I wanted to show you to highlight what in my view is bad creative and what in my view is good creative. I think some of you have heard me talk about this at the end many times before, but if we can go to that second last, a simple rule of thumb. So a simple rule of thumb, as I see it, should be not more than 5 words, one dominant visual or word, flat, bold colors. I think, pardon the simplicity of my thinking, but I believe if 80% of our outdoor billboards followed this principle, the ROI on outdoor would double. I'll skip this next point also. I want to end by saying that it is true that technology will continue to give the Midas touch to outdoor. And I think none of us in this room are today even able to visualize what awaits us tomorrow. And therefore, I want to end with this one clip that really fascinated me when I saw it, because I just could not believe it.
Welcome to the future here at the Detroit airport. You scan your boarding pass, look up at a giant screen, and you see only your flight information, even how many minutes it'll take you to walk to your gate. But only you can see it. It doesn't matter if you're standing right next to one other person or 100. Each person only sees their own information. Mind's blown.
It's otherworldly.
And I can't see a thing.
That is insane. Can you read that for mommy at the top? What does it say?
Hello, George.
What?
Really?
No way, that's so cool. I can't see anything. Like, I literally don't, how is that possible?
It's possible because of Albert Ng. Ng started developing his parallel reality technology in 2014.
Above our heads is a motion sensor that detects moving objects as they're walking around. It's non-biometric. It doesn't know anything about each of those objects that are walking around.
Pretty amazing. Congratulations on this.
It seems like a movie set in a slightly scary future where people's eyes identify them to advertisers on big screens. But this technology does not use your eyes or your face. The only thing that identifies you is the shape of your body.
That's remarkable that you're standing right next to me and you can't see that.
So even though the flight boards that exist today have the flight information, it's a list of 100 flights. It's on you to look through that flight information board to find your flight.
Ng says the technology is especially important for foreign travelers who don't always understand what's on the regular information boards. And his plan was to quietly debut this technology in Detroit for the masses, for ordinary travelers, with no facial scans, no apps, no gadgets, just a boarding pass. And his long-term vision?
So as soon as you enter the airport, greets you by name, lets you know where you need to go, which security checkpoint's the easiest for you, arrows lighting your path all the way through the airport towards your gate, reminding you how many minutes you have to walk.
And someday, you could see the technology in hotels, theme parks, and stadiums. all by the time this guy is an adult.
Hello, George.
Andy Roschen, TRT World, Detroit, Michigan.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me.
Mr. Sam Balsara, apologies. We'd just like to have you back on stage. And if I could have the opportunity of inviting Mr. Gulab Patil, CEO and founder of Lemma. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we re-welcome him. And let's get both the leaders in one frame. Ladies and gentlemen, what an excellent closing keynote this has been. Let's give a big round of applause to none other than Mr. Sam Balsara for always being the guiding light in many of the conferences and for sharing his insights always. Thank you once again, gentlemen, for joining us. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, we would like to conclude the 5th edition of e4m OOH Conference 2024, but with the light and beacon of hope of the growth of the industry. And I feel all of you deserve a big round of applause for being a part of this conference and hopefully with the history being created in future events. Presented by Lemma. Let's give them once again a warm round of applause and thank them for joining us on that. Thank you for being such a wonderful and supportive audience. It was a pleasure having all of you being with us today and, of course, engaging with the industry peers. Ladies and gentlemen, before we part ways, we'd just like to once again announce for the e4m Neon's OOH Award ceremony, which is going to happen shortly. So for the ones who've already registered, you may head towards the registration desk and collect the bands. For ones who haven't registered, you'd like to get in touch with the Exchange for Media team. So with that being said, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and we'd now like to part ways. This is me, Bhavna Bhatia, signing off for today, and thank you for being such a great audience. We'd like to leave you with our presenting partner presentation on the screen. Thank you. Check. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the ones in the room, may we request you to kindly exit the hall, re-register yourself. We request you to please take your belongings outside, re-register, and we'll shortly open the door back for the awards ceremony. So we request all of you to kindly vacate this room. There's going to be a tech check for the next one. So we're going to be closing doors to the main hall. We request you to re-register and join us back. Thank you.